Sorry about the interruption. We're going to go ahead. I'm just going to cut this up into parts 1 and parts 2, and we're going to be good to go. So, actually, it couldn't have happened at a better time that I get a call because we were right about to jump into images. So, this is going to take me definitely going to. I know the basic, or no, we'll start with links. And links are pretty straightforward. Ahref. I don't know what the H stands for. Hyperlink reference. So the formatting here is a little bit tricky, at least for those of us who have forgotten more HTML than we can remember. So the format is Ahref, and I'm going to use the URL, and then the text link, which is, I'm going to keep that as this, and I'm going to keep that closing A tag there. So the URL is going to be, effective, better make sure. Let's just pull something up. Let's do what would be a good, let's just be 3. In fact, I'm just going to refer to the reference page and we'll call it a day. All right. So I'm adding the link in there. We're good to go. And go ahead and save. Let's give it another look, see how it. All right, now I've got my link in there. Did it work? Bingo. So again, the A, this signals that there's going to be a hyperlink. Href. Let's see if I can, since I've got this up, I can look this. It doesn't explain. Okay, so href. Now, I believe another attribute that I can add to this is to say open up in a new do page, new window, and we can do that in by adding attributes over here. So I've got my URL, and then I'm going to say target, and this is saying, okay, what sort of what kind of page do you want to open up? And I'm just going to do self. No, I'm going to do blank. Interestingly, target equals blank. Okay, so let's save it. So again, as I'm working through a lot of this, I'm saving it and then checking it. I'm not getting too far. One of the issues when it comes to any sort of coding, I have found that I can get into the flow of things and just start really jamming and getting some content in there, and it's looking good, and you know you forget to save, and then something doesn't work and you have to go through and figure it out. So we've got our, looks good. We've got our, now if this works, this will open up a new tab with this link. And there we go. All right. So there's a few options here. I'm not going to go into all of them. Opens the document in the full body of the window, opens the document in the parent frame, whatever. So I'm not going to be worrying about any of that. So this is good. All right, so that's a link. Again, ahref equals the URL, and that's the web address of the link that you want to send the user to. And you can add this. You don't have to add it. I believe the default is to just open it up in the same window. Let's check it out. Right, yeah, so it's just going to open it up in that same window, which is not what I prefer to have another window open just for the sake of keeping that other page available, right? So you can have that other tab. This also leads to a lot of open tabs, and I'm going to go ahead and do a soft return there so it's a little bit, in fact, make sure that works. good. Okay, so no formatting changes. So the soft returns are just a nice, and the tab just keeps it nice and easy to locate. All right. Now let's. This is going to be. This is the thing that I've actually been avoiding because I know how much I've forgotten every single time I try to hand code an image into an HTML document. I forget. So let's go ahead. What I want is my ideal here is an image that's going to be um, that's going to start at the top of this paragraph, but it's going to be placed on the left. Okay, I don't want it centered. No, sorry, the right. And I want it to have a certain number of padding, and I want the word wrapping to go around it. Now, if you remember, up here in the head and style, my image is I've got a border around them as well. What I may do is add the what I could do is add this style these properties to this tag if I wanted all the images to follow this. But since I'm only going to use one image, I'm just going to stick with it's going to add it right into the property and this or the tag, and this also helps demonstrate how this works. Okay, so we've got our paragraph here. So I'm going to do image, and then I'm going to add my closing tag right away. Image source equals. Now again, so I'm going to have to look this up. And this is image, so I'm going to look up images on what W3 tools, and here we have images can improve the design and appearance of a web page. So here we have the formatting. Image source equals the link in or the file name in the quotation marks with alternate text also in here. Now, I don't know if we've talked about alternate text yet, but alternate text is for screen readers. And it's really important to add that information in there for those who may not be able to see the images, right? So you add like a little description of what it is. I don't know off the top of my head what the exact qualities you're looking for in good alt text, but it should be short, it should be descriptive, and it should be clear and to the point. All right, so you have this sort of, let's just try it ourselves, and this is also helping me stay refreshed. So if I hover over the image, I should get the alt text, but it's not showing it. Maybe if I inspect it, I could see the alt text in here. So this also is if the image breaks. Okay, so if I, let's see if I do this. The image is now broke. The link is broken because it's not actually pulling from it. So I get the alt text in its place with this little broken icon link. Okay. So that's also a good demonstration of, if the image is not showing up, now that's the tag that you have to look for, that information, locating that, and then doing a reference. Okay. How do I tweak this to make it work? Now here are some properties. As many of you have probably discovered when you were working with Markdown, that these images, you have very little control over the size. HTML, you do have control over those size, and then you can add these properties, width and height. Now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and watch I will be, this will take one side and it will keep it constrained. So let's see if that works. So yeah, that's not going to change. If I do this, run it, it makes it bigger. I can do, let's do 30, make it tiny. All right. So I don't need the length necessarily, but just the width. That's how I was taught. So I'm not sure if that has changed. Maybe it has. 500, run. Okay, so we're good to go there. So now, because I'm curious, if I do the width equals, and I believe it was before 700, and now if I do shorter, let's see what happens. Okay, it doesn't do anything. So I'm not, oh, duh. Is it length or height? Yeah, okay, so if I adjust, it will constrain it. So again, keeping this to just the width um, was the practice I learned, so that's what I'm going to go with. I'm sure there will be someone that comes along and says this is why we do this, and I would be welcome to see that. All right. Okay, so what's in here? We've got the width and height again. So these are all just examples. Again, great resource. I mean, I can't tell you enough how wonderful it is to have a website that covers everything. You can try it right in the browser with examples that are on point. Man. Okay, so um, not too worried about this. It's worth checking out when the time comes. So the source attribute is the link to the image. Now let's go ahead and give this a shot because that's where things can get a little bit dicey. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to go to my Trillium. I'm going to go back to my Wikimedia Commons, and I'm going to use this file. Remember this, the file URL is what I'm looking for. I'm going to give this a shot. Okay. And I'm going to add my alt. Let's see how to do that again. Alt equals. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on another line. Alt equals close up of Trillium. Okay. And because I know that image is going to be massive, I'm also going to keep it constrained to, let's say 200. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so I've got my image source in there. Let's see if it works. Bingo. All right, so I've got my black border. It's small. So we're looking good so far, but I want that on the right. So I'm going to jump back over to Notepad++. And there's another attribute, if I remember correctly. I'm going to open this up on W3. Let's see over here. And let's see, I'm going to close out some of these actually, so I don't need all of these. Oops. W3 editor. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go back to images so I can get all of my, again, look at all of these different tags, and you can certainly add more audio, media, plugins, YouTube. You can add like geolocation, which is something I had never even considered before, which would be very cool. So that obviously involves a little bit more scripting. So try it. Click the button to get your coordinates. Oh, look at that. It sure does. It goes right through the browser. It gives you your latitude and longitude. So on a side note, this is kind of interesting because the question once was asked in a conference if you could build this geolocation into Twine. And Dan Cox, the guru of Twine, probably second only to Chris Klimas, but his response was, anything a web browser can do, Twine can do. So if you had a Twine project that involved geolocation, it can be done. And Dan's probably made a video on how to do it by this point. So if you don't know Dan Cox's videos, you should. if that's your jam. Anyway, where was I? Images. All right. So what I need to know, I want to know, okay, where to center it, where to place the image, and I want to add a little bit of space around the image so that the text isn't bumping up right against it. So we did this, this. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that what this is doing here is referring to an image that's available online. Now, typically what you would do is you would have all of your images in a folder and it would direct from that folder. So that's a little bit of a different technique. I'm not going to cover that this week because I've asked everyone have their images placed online in something like Wikimedia Commons, so it's just easier to use. Now, what could happen is the link could be broken, the site could go down. You know, that could happen, but and in fact, if you had your own web page, you would certainly, say if you had a WordPress site, you would certainly want the images housed there as well. But for our purposes, we're keeping it relatively simple. Let's see, animated images we're not worrying about. Yes, you can add a link to your image. So we would just add the href so you can start to see we've got some nested images happening here. So let's go ahead and try that just for fun. Why not? So we've got the image source, a Oh, that's interesting. I'm just kind of looking at this off to the side here. Huh. Okay, I'm not sure if how this format is working, if it's this default ASP. That can't be right. So I've got my copy the link. I'm going to a href equals okay. Excuse me. I'm going to close that up with, in fact, interestingly, I don't, excuse me, I don't even need the closing image tag. All right, it's getting to be about that time, I think. All right, let's save it. Let's see how it works. Now, if this works, this is going to take me to the page where the image was. And it does. Perfect. All right, so we're pretty good to go here. But what I also want to do is, let's see if what we are, let's see if I can remember off the top of my head. Position? That doesn't look quite right. That's not right either. So I'm going to go ahead and look because I clearly don't remember. Let's see. Find. Justify. Huh. Formats. Huh. So you can clickable area within an image map, which is kind of cool. So if you had a page that filled your entire screen, for example, you could have certain areas in the links, which would be kind of a fun project. So let's. I'm gonna have to look this up because I don't remember. Right. Justify image. HTML. Align. That's it. There you go. And it turns red and it's good to go. Okay, so now let's take a look. And it's on the right now. So that's a little bit goofy, but again, you can kind of see here where the padding would be nice to have a little bit of space between the type and the image. Okay. So let's go over here. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back up to style. Now that I'm all, let's see, align. Okay, let's try it. And F5. Nope. All right, so I have to look at what the options are. Left, right, image align. Let's see. Text. Text align. HTML. Text align. It's the little things. It's the little things. Just keep that in mind. And don't, again, just knowing you're not, believe me, if this demonstration is proof of anything, you don't need to necessarily know the tags by heart. But what you need to know is that something can be done, the tag is out there, and how it happens. Okay, so let's try it again. And now we've got our text awkwardly justified. But yeah, you can see that padding would really come in handy here. And you'll start to see, now this is not going to look great. Border. Yeah, I think I'm going to do padding. And this will do all around, I believe. I'm going to do 5. Let's do 10 pixels. Leave it at that. Oh, look at that. So good to know. The border goes around the padding. So what I'm going to do is go back to, since I don't need the border now, I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. Or do it that way. Pop. So now look what happens here, though, is that now that I've got that padding here, it's going to also add it to the top and the text is not aligned. Now, on any given day, that would drive me nuts, and I would go back in and change it. And I would say padding, what's that, left? 10 pixels. Padding bottom, 10 pixels. Okay, save that, see if it works. Yep, there you go. All right, so again, this is you start to see just how, okay, so bottom I probably don't need that much. And it might be a little bit of fudging here to make that, because I don't mind that line going underneath it necessarily. I bet there's a way I could add a caption, which would be kind of nice, right? So let's see. I don't know if I've ever even done that, so I'm going to give it a try. Let's see. Caption. HTML caption tag. Awesome. So now table with a caption. I don't want that. Image caption. HTML. Fig caption. Oh. Okay, so that's interesting. A figure element to mark up a photo in a document, and a fig caption element to define a caption for the photo. So captions are not in there automatically, so you have to do a little razzle dazzle. Okay, new new learning experience here for me as well. All right, so I got the figure tag. Okay, so I'm gonna add this figure in here. I've got my, I'm gonna keep this, I'm gonna tab it so I can identify it easily. Something's amiss. What am I missing here? I did the wrong one. Okay. So I need to go back down here and figure. Now I can add my closing tag. Again, this is so figure. I've got my image here. I've got the link in the image, and now what I need to do after I add after this closing tag here, I have to add fig caption. Interesting. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is figure 1 close up of trillium. Okay. And I believe that's it. So, fig caption. All right. Let's see how this goes. I'm excited now. No. Oh, look what it did. All right. So my captions are in a different font. It broke something in there. So that should be easy enough to do. I'm going to scroll out a little bit. I'm going to consult with my W3 page that I have open over here on the side. And where was I? HTML fig caption. Okay. So figure, check. Image source. That is, I wonder if I have to have this. No. I'm going to tab this to try to keep things organized. Ahref. There we go. Now I have the image source, and I can just, it just makes it easier to follow along. Okay. And then I'm going to tab this because that's more additional information. I got this, and then I've got fig caption here. Fig caption closed. Maybe it's this A that I don't need. Maybe that's one reason not to have this in there. Let's find out. Okay. Where are you at? There we go. Refresh it. I turned everything into one big link and didn't do exactly what I wanted it to do. So maybe this is not something I want to be doing anymore because it is not working. Let me go try an example here. Because this should be working. I think what's happening though is that link is driving it nuts. So let's start with the basics. I'm going to cut this so I can add it later. Go back to my... Okay, so something's going on here where the caption is not attached to the image. So now I'm going, just to show you what I'm looking at here. We've got this window open. Image source equals. You know, it might be because it's pulling from the link. I don't know. H1 figure caption. Figure image source equals alt. There you go. This one has a different, the style is, okay, I see what's going on here. Fig caption, Making sure my spelling's right. This should be fine. And then fig caption. And then figure. So I have no idea what is going on here. So this might be something that I simply have to table for our purposes. So, okay, well, um, yeah, and notice it also made that janky. So I've got to do this as well. Maybe that'll solve the problem. Okay, so that's better, but I want this to be on that. Fig caption. I wonder if now, if I add that, if I do this, maybe that will keep things. So again, one of the tricks is to just figure out when you start to get these nesting tags like this, it can get confusing. Nope. All right, so that's enough. We are, what time is it now? Come on. Yeah, so we're at 30 minutes, so I'm good to go. And this is essentially if you're doing this for an assignment in the digital platforms class, this about covers it, right? I've got my link, I've got the images in there. Now you would want to resize them, and I encourage you to take time and play around with it and get them to where exactly what you want them to do. Notice the link here is gone now. So yeah, bonus if anyone can figure out the caption. All right. And that about wraps it up. My throat is killing me. I'm going to head out now and eat a handful of lozenges or something, but because this is difficult. Apologies for the coughing. Apologies for the interruption halfway through, but hopefully, we got the image. We got padding in there, so you can see that. Notice the padding disappeared too. Oh, that's because I added it in the style. That's right. All right, so maybe that's why the padding that didn't work. Oh, now I got to try. Okay, so I'm gonna remove the bottom padding here, and let's see what happens. Go back. Where are you? Let's see if it works. No. Oh well. All right, it was worth a shot. Anyway, thanks for joining me. This has been Together We Write. Every Tuesday from 1 to 1:30, 1 to 1:30. I can't remember the times anymore. It's changed so much, and it's really difficult when things happen during the day. So, anyway, thanks for checking it out. If you're watching a recording, feel free to ask me any questions that you have. Hopefully, this has been helpful, even though despite all of the wonkiness. All right. Again, please don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions. But I tell you, w3schools.com is a fantastic site. Despite the ads, it's a really great way to practice and get things working. So, all right.